Craft My Day. I'm so glad you decided to join us on this 4-week course. It's a course I've been running here at the studio for many years, and it's really exciting to be able to move it online and to share it with all of you at home. So we are going to work today on our what I call our sewing machine masterclass. It's really about building your confidence. People always worry that they're not creative or that they won't be able to do it. We have really high expectations of what we think we should be able to achieve, and really this is all about allowing yourself just to have fun, allowing yourself to enjoy the experience, knowing that you don't have to be perfect at everything. If everyone was perfect when they first started doing things, it would be a very sad world. You need to have some gauge of being able to improve, and that's really important. And so you really need to give yourself a break and think it's okay to not be perfect when you start. I promise you that you will make things, you will achieve them, you will be really proud of each item that you make during this 4-week course. And all of those items, they may have wobbly lines. It doesn't matter. You will have made them, and at the end you'll be really proud of that item that you've made. And there may be room for improvement. That's okay. You'll make another one, and that will be a little bit better. And you'll make another one, and soon everybody you know will have makeup bags and origami boxes for birthdays and Christmases, and you'll be gifting them out to everybody, and hopefully really proud of your achievements. That's what it's all about. It's about having fun, it's about being creative. I think sewing is a funny thing because lots of people, they say, oh, I'm not creative, and actually with sewing, the creativity, a lot of it comes in choosing pretty fabrics, choosing nice colours. The sewing part of it is quite technical and almost mathematical. You're following a pattern, so it's not really about being creative. I always say sewing is a great craft for people who are not creative, because it's about learning a process. And so any of you at home going, oh, I'm not really creative, that's absolutely fine. We can all pick some pretty fabric. That's easy. Okay, so that's a little bit about our mental attitude, and really just learning to relax and enjoy the process is hugely important. Take a deep breath, enjoy. Okay, so I'm going to talk to you a little bit about sewing machines. There are loads of different sewing machines available, and I'm sure you all have one that you've got at home. It does not matter if your machine is 40 years old, it's brand new, they all work in the same way. So we're going to go through the threading of the machine, and there are some little tips and tricks that I'm just going to teach you so that you don't have these ongoing problems with threading. So we're going to go directly to the machine and have a look at those. I also just wanted to let you know about the different types of machines. So there's what we call an entry-level digital machine, and there is a manual machine. Now an entry-level digital machine is the one that I've got here, and it has some buttons to press which moves the light around up and down, but really there's only 3 little sections, and your manual machine, if you have a manual one, has exactly the same. The only difference between the digital and the manual is that the digital has a button to press to change them, and the manual has a dial to turn to change them. That's it. So a lot of people get caught up in, oh, my machine's not as good, or it's different, it's not as fancy. It really does not matter. The only stitches we're going to use are a straight stitch, a zigzag, we're going to use our reverse stitch, we're going to use a hemming stitch, which I'm going to show you what that is later. Every machine has all of those stitches, okay? There are most machines, even the most basic machines, will have some embroidery stitches, and today we're going to play around with some of those. But even the most basic machine is perfectly adequate for doing the whole of this course and getting all of the projects sewn up, okay? So we're going to move to the machine and we're going to have a look at a little run through all about it. Okay, so I'm just going to talk you through the sewing machine. We're going to come and have a look at the dial here, and as I said before, the digital machine has a button, this one here, that you press it and it just moves this light up and down. But there are just 1, 2, 3. This is the stitch selector. This is the width, so it's always like a zigzag image, and it is the width of the stitch. And then the dotted line is the length of the stitch. This button just moves this light up and down, and if you press it, it will move it up and down. And this, the up and down will just change the selection, whichever one it's on. If you have a manual machine, you are going to just have a dial for each of these lights, and you'll just turn the dial. Sometimes you have a sliding selector also for stitch length or the width. A very basic machine may have one dial that has the different stitches drawn on it, and you'll just turn the dial to the different stitches, but you will always have a straight stitch, which is this number 1 on this machine. You will always have the option of a straight stitch where the needle is pushed over to the left. That's always an option. That's what we call our hemming stitch. You will have a zigzag stitch, and they are all the stitches we're going to use. I'm just going to show you a few of the other stitches, just so that you know what they are, and sometimes it's a little bit overwhelming when you look at your machine and you don't really know what all the things are. So this stitch here, which looks like 3 lines next to each other, when it stitches, it actually does them on top of each other. So it looks like a thick line. We use it for doing top stitching. Often with top stitching, you would have a thicker thread, but if you haven't got that to change to, you can just use that stitch and it looks pretty. This number 6, not all machines have that, and it doesn't matter. It's just an adjustment on the zigzag stitch, so you can just make it thinner and longer. And this is for using on stretchy fabrics, so it's a really useful stitch. Number 9, which is like a broken zigzag, so obviously it might not be called number 9 on your machine, but on here it's number 9. This stitch is really good for repairing things. If you need to do, if you've got a hole in something, if you do that stitch backwards and forwards over the top, then it's like darning it, and obviously you get a nice matching thread. Number 10 here, this one with a zigzag shape but with a dotted line down the outside left-hand edge. If you have that stitch, that's an overlocking stitch. So not all machines have it, and that's absolutely fine. But if you do have it, we will talk about later in the course, we'll talk about when you may want to use it. These are for blind hems. We're not going to look at those. These are buttonholes, and we might touch on buttonholes a little bit later in the course. These are buttonholes for stretchy fabric, so we don't need to worry about those. And down here, these are some embroidery stitches, and they're really fun. We're going to have a little play with that later on. Okay, so that's a little run through of this side. Over here, on this side of the machine, we have a speed control. Now, not a lot of machines have speed control, so don't worry if you don't have that. You just use the pressure on your pedal to control your speed. That's absolutely fine. This button, again, not all machines have this one. This pushes the needle down, and if you push it again, it lifts the needle back up, which is quite useful. But again, you can just turn the wheel at the side, and that will put your needle down and lift it up. So it's not a necessary thing. It's just a nice little addition if you have it. This button here is to do 3 stitches in one place, so it's like a little knot, which most machines won't have that, so we're not going to worry about that stitch, about that one at all. And this is our reverse button, which is really important. Now, some machines have a lever that you push down and hold it down. This one, there is a button. You have to hold it down for the entire time that you want to go backwards, and then you release. Okay, so that is our functions of the machine. We're now going to talk about a little bit about the mechanics of the machine. So if I take the foot off, there's a little button at the back here to press, and it drops the foot off. If you look at the foot, there is a hole, an oval shape here. Now this oval is
the oval on the pictures of the stitches, and this foot, if I hold it sideways, is actually an image of this. The foot is on here, and the letters at the bottom down here are telling you that this is the foot you should use, and it says A in there. You can get lots of feet, so they might not necessarily come with the machine, and then it won't be obviously noted on the machine. To put it back under, you're just going to slide it under, and you're going to lower the lever that is at the side here. It could be at the back, and that will bring the shaft down, and it will click onto the little bar on the foot. Under the foot, there are some little teeth. I might actually drop that off again. Here. It is the pressure of the foot pressing onto the teeth that makes the fabric move. There are quite a lot of machines. They actually have a button, normally at the back of the machine, that stops. They're called dog feet, and it stops them from moving. If you're doing embroidery, freehand motion embroidery, then you would take those down. So if your machine seems to not be working, and the feet aren't pulling the fabric through, it's worth checking that they haven't been deactivated. Okay, our bobbin lives in here, and on this machine there's a little pad that brushes to the right to lift the cover out, and the bobbin lives in here. You always have a bobbin and a thread at the top. So I just wanted to talk to you quickly about the tension. This is the tension dial on my machine, and it can go up and down. I'm actually going to do a whole little tutorial about tension, because it's something that comes up over and over again, and most people don't really understand what it actually does. So we're going to cover this in a later video. You purchase your thread, and I would definitely recommend getting a case of empty bobbins, and then you can fill one up for each thread and put it away at the end of when you finished working. And then next time you need that colour and you pull your thread out, you've already got your matching bobbin threaded up.